What would you actually do if you had $100,000 at 30, you wanted to invest, but you didn't want to blow it all? Most people, they lose money when they start investing because they don't have a system or process to follow. And that's why in this video, I'm going to share the exact steps that I would use if I was investing 100K so that you can just copy them and apply them to your own investing. And I even turn these steps into a one-page free checklist that you can use if you want to follow along. It's linked below. So the first checkbox you want to fill in is that you have your emergency fund in place. And here's why. I can remember it super clearly. I was lying in bed one night before I went to sleep. My wife was beside me, and all we heard in the wall next to us was a drip, 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 which means that our roof, which was just above us, was leaking. And if you know anything about water in a home, it is not a good thing. So it meant that we had to get the roof repaired and ultimately redone, which is a cool 7, 8 grand in our area, which means we had to dip into our emergency fund. So those type of things will happen. And if you don't have the funds set up to deal with them, it can be stressful. It can cause friction in relationship with your family or your significant other. And it really can impact your investments if you're always kind of pulling money out of your investments to put to the emergency. So you want to have that fund separated and put off to the side in a different account, ready for a rainy day. And how you do this is simply calculating 6 months of expenses. You can do this on the back of a napkin if you wanted to. You put down expenses like your mortgage, heat, electricity, any other utilities you may have, internet, all the things you need to have in order to live in your home, or maybe it's just rent for you if you're renting a home. And then you add in things like food, gas, any kind of car payments or kind of ongoing debt payments that you may have. Add in any subscriptions, any recreational activities, anything for the kids or family, and there you go. Boom. Once you have that total number up, you add it together, multiply it by 6, and that's the number you have to have put away in a separate account saved for your emergency. So don't start investing if you have 100K. Take a chunk of that out first and put it towards your emergency fund. Then move on to step 2, which is checking if you have any high interest debt that you can eliminate. And when I say high interest, I mean something like 7, 8%, where eliminating that debt is going to give you an instant relief or instant clarity on that number. And if you try to make that in the stock market or in real estate or with crypto or with a business, like 7, 8% is quite a bit. And it's hard to do, and it's much less effort for you to just go in there, move the money around, and just pay off that debt. Maybe you have a line of credit, or maybe you have a small loan you can pay off. Use those funds first, pay those things off. Then you can approach step 3. And your third check on our list is your time horizon, or will you need this money within the next 5 years? And if you will, then you probably don't want to invest because you want to have a longer time frame when you're investing your cash, longer than 5 years for sure. Instead, it maybe makes sense to put it in some kind of high yield savings account where you can get 3 to 4 to 5% and still battle the effects of inflation. What you don't want to do is leave it in just a regular bank account, because after 5 years, $100,000 actually gets chipped away because of inflation, because of money printing. It goes from $100,000 in value down to about 70,000-ish dollars after 5 years if you don't do anything. So at the very least, use a high yield savings account, get that 3, 4% and help your money protect itself a little bit. And obviously, if you have a longer time horizon, 5 year plus, then consider investing by moving on to step 4. Well, the next question you have to ask yourself is, how often or how much effort do you want to have managing your investments? Like, honestly, there's ways you can do it daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, however often you want to check it. It can be set up that way. But ideally, if you're going to have maybe a full-time job, you got kids, you got family, you got other commitments, you probably don't want to be checking this every single day. So like day trading, crypto trading, those kind of things are probably off the table for you just because they're not going to integrate well with your life. Instead, you could do something like monthly, like sell stock options every month. You could invest in real estate and manage your portfolio once a month, checking on things, how we're going. You could create a business where you're checking in once a month on just how your products or your sales are going online, things like that, where you don't have to be actively reviewing things all the time. It's a more responsible way to invest. And obviously, it has to, again, align with your lifestyle. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. And if this video has helped you so far, don't forget that checklist is available for you for free to download. It goes through all 8 of the questions we're going to be talking about here. It has checklists. You actually fill in the boxes to help you with your decision making. And so the 5th thing you want to think about is the risk profile and your goals for the investment. And again, if you want to have something that is higher risk, higher hands-on timeline, you may have 100K today and wake up tomorrow and it'll only be worth 60K because it's super volatile. Something like crypto trading or day trading stock options could be in that boat, which is seen as high risk. If you decide that that's too volatile or too much risk for yourself, you could always parse that down and go back to a way that is more simplified, like maybe a passive index fund strategy with the stock market, or a very safe buy and hold real estate strategy where the volatility won't be there. Your 100K today may drop down to 95K tomorrow, but it's probably going to stay 95 or 90 before going back up to 100, 105, 110, and slowly working its way up versus the kind of the big up and down drops you get when you're on the more high risk assets. And if you're using your investments for just generating pure cash flow, that would be seen as higher risks versus a retirement planning strategy or just preserving your wealth for long-term gain. Those are very different. So you have to understand which one you're going after. The volatility and the risk combined with what you're trying to do with the money make up your kind of risk profile. So think about those things and think, are you high or low risk? Are you wanting cash flow or more long-term security, and adjust your decisions with your investments accordingly? Then think about the sixth thing and then factor in what skills or personal advantages you already have. You probably have some kind of skill, whether it be ability to do mathematics really well, ability to talk to people or like communicate, or ability to kind of build things with your hands. All three of those are the typical skills you're going to find in every different investor, one of those three. And the math skills probably lead themselves better to kind of stock investing, day trading, any kind of thing where math or technical charts are being looked at. That's probably a better math background would help you with those kind of things. If you've got really good communication skills, maybe you want to go and build a business, make connections with people, sell things over the phone, sell things online, write or generate copy with like written form of selling. And if you're really handy and you can build things, go into real estate, start flipping houses, start fixing things or building things that are broken and just return them to their former glory. And you'll make a lot of money doing that. It's your inherent skill advantage. And you wouldn't want to put a really handy guy who can do all these things with his hands and build things into a stock account because he's probably not going to have as much success, and vice versa. So lean into your skills whenever possible, and then do this next thing to elevate yourself even further before you get started. You need to level up your knowledge base. And the easiest way that I found to do that is to either read books, watch YouTube videos, and take notes, or listen to podcasts, right? It's often said smart people learn from their mistakes, but the smartest or the wisest people can learn from the mistakes of others. That's what you want to try to do. And you can do that by just plowing into books and the free resources online. And then with the eighth part of the checklist is just give yourself a good launching pad. So get your first 3 to 5 steps built out first, so you know what's going to happen in order before you go and make your first investment. And that could look something like this for a stock account. The first step may be opening up a brokerage or online account where you can actually do your stock trading. The next part of it would be like automating your deposits, so the money's always flowing into your account, so you have it there before you go to make your trades. And then you want to go ahead and select your stock and break down if you want to do, let's say, a 65-35 split. So 65% of your portfolio is going to be index funds, which is very, very safe and low risk. And then maybe 35% is going to be individual stocks. And then you want to schedule your quarterly reviews, which would be another step to make sure your investments are actually working each quarter, every 3 months. And then do this and have yourself a deadline so you're going to get all 5 of these things done by, let's say, the end of the day on Friday this week. That's how you build out your plan so you can hit the ground running when you are ready to go and you've gone through the checklist and have the steps laid out. And if you're still not really sure, think about this. If you had 100K today and you decided not to invest it, what would it look like 5 years from now? It'd probably be worth a lot less because of inflation and money printing. But if you chose to do one thing, invest it in one way simply to start, the 100K has a really good chance of growing, and you're going to gain skills along the way, get better at the investing, and hopefully grow it even quicker after you get the hang of it after a little bit of time goes by. So I think the risk of doing nothing and staying pat and not learning is far greater than the risk of trying something, failing, moving on to something else, and getting better as you grow. And if you watch this video and like this framework, the exact 8-step checklist is available again for you for free. Link below to download. It'll help you think through all these things before you make any investment decisions. And if you want to see the exact things that I did and used to become a millionaire in my 30s on an average salary, check out this video next.